do you have questions about Medicare? I always have questions about Medicare since I've been on it now for over a year. And I find it so confusing. So today I have Jarrett Nijkamp with the HIPPO Insurance store with me, and we're going to talk Medicare and hopefully ask some of those questions that you may be asking yourself, because Medicare is confusing.
It can be, for sure.
It really can be. Jarrett, first let's talk about who qualifies for Medicare.
Well, there's several different areas in which people can qualify for Medicare. The most common that qualify for Medicare are those that are age 65 and older. Other categories of folks that may qualify for Medicare are individuals who have been placed on Social Security disability and have been receiving that for 24 months.
Okay, so let's say, and I'm going to use myself as an example, folks, because I have nothing to hide, and I have one of those odd birthdays. My birthday is October the 16th, so I fell in there before Medicare enrollment. When do we sign up for Medicare?
Great question. Most people are probably getting a ton of things in their mailbox.
Yes.
And it we call it Medicare confused. Okay.
Yes.
So normal open enrollment for Medicare and Medicare Advantage is going to be October 15th through December 7th.
Right.
That never changes. It's every year. For your birthday, when you first turn 65, it's a little bit different.
Right.
You have 3 months before your birthday, the month of your birthday, and 3 months after.
Oh, okay.
To sign up for Medicare.
Because I think we signed me up in like August.
That's right. We were able to be able to sign you up in August, even though your effective date wasn't until October.
Right. Okay. Now, there is a difference between Medicare A and B and C, and then all of your Medicare Advantage plans and stuff like that. Let's see if we can explain that to people. I know A is free. B, you have to pay, folks. If you didn't know this, is not free.
Not free.
And it's right now, I think it's $134 a month. And if you're on Social Security, they can take it straight out of that. I'm not, so I have to pay it. And then, now, let's get to you.
Okay. Well, let's back up and explain a little bit of what we're discussing, because there's some caveats there. I call it the ride through the mountains, because there's a lot of ups and downs.
Yes, it is.
As you said, Medicare Part A, most folks who are eligible for Medicare Part A are the ones who are just turned 65. Okay, that's the majority of the population. If you have worked 39 quarters in your lifetime and paid into the federal government, you pay taxes.
Paid your Social Security.
Paid your Social Security, you are eligible for Medicare Part A at a typical $0 premium.
Right.
There is no charge. Okay, Medicare Part A is what they really refer to as hospital insurance. It's almost catastrophic. It'll cover your skilled nursing. It'll cover hospital visits for a certain amount with a little bit of deductible and things like that involved. And that's about as limited as Medicare Part A is. Well, then we move into Medicare Part B. Medicare Part B, as you said, it does come out of your Social Security check if you draw one. If not, it's a direct payment. 70% of people will only see a fee of $134 a month. That is, however, based on income and household size. If you make more than, say, on a joint tax return, more than $170,000 a year, then your premiums will be increased and will be higher than the $134 a month.
Okay.
So I did want to clear that up. It's not everybody pays $134. You could pay more.
See, there's questions.
That's right. You could pay more.
Yeah.
And you referred to, you're not drawing your Social Security yet.
No.
So that you can make direct payment to Medicare in that situation.
And you must make direct payment to Medicare.
You must, that's right.
And here is something that really threw me. You don't have a choice of whether you go on Medicare or not. Is that correct?
That is mostly correct. Okay, when you turn 65, you are automatically enrolled into Medicare Part A. Medicare Part B, however, is a choice.
Right.
When you receive your red, white, and blue card in the mail, it will automatically have you enrolled in Medicare Part B. If you decline to have Medicare Part B, then you have to sign a waiver waiving Part B and send that back in.
Well, now, is there a penalty if I waived Part B?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
It sure is. There is a penalty of, I don't want to get exact, but I'm wanting to think it's 1% per month that you don't sign up for Part B. And when you finally do decide to sign up for Part B at some point, it's a lifetime penalty of 1% on any premiums you pay after that.
That could add up.
It could add up. So, Part B is pretty important. Part B is typically what they consider your doctor's insurance,
right.
Okay? That's going to help you minimally when you go to the doctor. It's usually a straight 80-20, so that means they pay 80%, you pay 20%. That 20% is okay if your doctor bill is only $100.
Sure.
But if you see a specialist that's $400, $500, your 20% becomes pretty high.
All right. Now that leads to, why do we need Medicare Advantage?
Right. So let's start. Let's start with this part. You cannot sign up for anything else unless you have Part B.
Exactly.
So you must have Part B to be eligible for a Medicare supplement, Medicare Advantage, a Part D prescription plan, etc. So I just threw a lot of terms out at you, and that's really where the road starts getting confusing.
That's where the hills and the valleys
Exactly,
come in.
exactly. Everything else can be straight ahead.
Okay, well, let's talk about what I think maybe 50% of the folks out there would be on, which is just a Medicare Advantage plan.
Okay. Medicare Advantage are also known, if you hear of, Part C. Part C is the same exact thing as a Medicare Advantage plan. A Medicare Advantage plan is going to have, it's more traditional. It's kind of like your typical health insurance, to where you pay a certain amount of premium. There are plans available right now that's a $0 premium all the way up to roughly $85 a month for a premium.
Right.
Okay, Medicare Advantage has copays. You have more cost sharing, so you would have a copay at the doctor. You would have copays at the specialist. It would be set up like 80-20, just like a normal health insurance plan might be. So when you are like if you have X-rays, imaging, things like that, you would be responsible for 20%. Now, one mandatory thing that all Medicare Advantages have to have, that a lot of standard health insurance has typically, is a max out of pocket.
Right.
And so basically that says, you're required to share some of the cost in your medical treatment, but once your out of pocket expenses come to like $4,950 is what the number was for 2017. Once they come to that $4,950, then it's 100% coverage from that point. Not all Medicare Advantages include your prescription coverages.
Right.
I would say most of them do. And typically Medicare Advantages are right for, like you said, probably 50% of the people and 50% of the time.
Right.
But as far as expense goes, they are lower cost typically than other things.
All right, then let's talk about Part D, which is your drug coverage.
Part D.
Why would you need the drug coverage if you already have your Advantage, which gives you some drug coverage?
That's correct. Now, if you have a Medicare Advantage that includes your prescription coverage,
right,
you would not need Part D.
You would not need Part D.
You would not need
okay.
Part D, which is also another cost saver. If you were to go into a Medicare Advantage plan, then you would not have to purchase a separate Part D plan.
Okay.
Right up front.
Well, when would people be buying a Part D plan? I mean, why would you, if you just had A, B, and maybe D?
You could certainly go with Part A and Part B with a standalone Part D, which
right.
is prescription coverage. So the alternative to a Medicare Advantage, I think it would be more appropriate to go that route first, would be what they call a Medigap plan, or what most people refer to as a Medicare supplement. People don't realize that Medicare Advantage and Medicare supplements are two different things.
Right.
A Medicare supplement is... it doesn't have a part. However, it is governed by the federal government. So it doesn't
right.
matter what carrier you buy a Medicare supplement from. Because this is where you start hearing not part, but Plan A, Plan F, Plan J. All of those plans have to be identical no matter what carrier you go to. Because the federal government says so. Where the differences become are in the networks and how you receive care from providers. Okay?
And whether someone that you want to see is in your network.
Exactly. So, you have HMOs and PPOs and those types of things.
And I wish we had enough time during this segment to get into those, but we don't. We're
No,
talking
we
Medicare
sure
right now.
don't. So a Medicare supplement, if you purchase a Medicare supplement, they do not include prescription coverage. So therefore, if you purchased a Medicare supplement, you would need to purchase a standalone prescription plan.
Gotcha. So that's the difference between a supplement and an Advantage plan.
That's correct. Here are the other differences between a Medicare supplement and an Advantage plan. Med Advantage plan, like I said, is typically lower cost. You share some of the cost of your treatments. A Medicare supplement is typically going to be more expensive, but it's going to cover more of your expenses to where you're not having to pay any cost share. In layman terms, a lot of times you'll hear your friends say, well, I've got a plan that I don't pay anything if I go into the hospital, or I don't pay anything when I go to the doctor. More than likely, they have a Medicare supplement.
Right. But they're paying higher on a monthly basis.
That's correct. Their premiums will be higher on a monthly basis. So what I suggest is they cannot accept you or decline you based on your health status. But if you don't have an extreme amount of health conditions or see an extreme amount of doctors on a monthly basis, you would be better with a Medicare Advantage. We always say a Medicare Advantage is you pay as you use it, to where a Medicare supplement, you pay for it whether you use it or not.
Right. And to me that, if you're a relatively healthy older person,
Right.
which I are one, then yes, I can see where the Advantage plan would be much more useful to someone like me. But say someone who has a whole string of illnesses and drug needs and all this stuff, they would really need the supplement more.
That's correct. But keeping in mind, when you said the long list of drugs and medications,
They need D as well.
if you have a Med Advantage, those built-in prescription plans are identical to the standalone prescription.
Oh, okay.
So really, the prescriptions aren't a major
part of this.
Right. Now, when you look at prescriptions, that's when it comes time where you have to look from carrier to carrier, because everybody's tiers of medications are different.
And that was a whole other thing that was just really crazy to me.
So when you brought up Part D, now would be the appropriate time to say, okay, how important is Part D and or the prescription coverage, okay? There is also a penalty for not accepting some type of prescription coverage, and that is 1% per month on the premiums of a penalty. The appropriate time to buy a standalone prescription plan would be if you decided to purchase a Medicare supplement plan. But again, if you purchase a Medicare Advantage, most of them have a built-in prescription coverage that's identical to the standalone plans. So there are appropriate times to buy Part D, but I would say if you're geared more toward Medicare Advantage plan, you would not need to purchase a standalone prescription.
And that's one of the things that I've enjoyed working with Jared. You understand the fact that HIPPO looks at the individual, not the lump of the sum, so to speak.
Correct. That's correct. We pride ourselves on the term of being brokers.
Right.
Okay. And just so all the good folks at home know the difference between brokers and agents. As a broker, we represent 10 of the most common and leading Medicare Advantage and Medicare supplement companies. But we work for the customer.
Right.
We work for the customer and help them find the best plan, to where an agent, per se, represents one company. Okay?
Right.
So
they work for a Nationwide or a Humana or whatever.
Right. Exactly. They work for a designated company.
Right.
And that's the only person they can represent. To where as brokers, we would sit down, and of course we can go through that process of how that looks, but we represent all companies, and we take the customer to the companies instead of the company to the customer.
Right, and I think that's a really great way to work this. We're about to run out of time, but I want everyone to know that HIPPO Insurance Store is open, and give us the enrollment dates one more time.
The enrollment dates for Medicare is going to be October 15th through December 7th.
Okay. And then you have other products that the HIPPO store.
We certainly do. We are a full service insurance agency. We can work with you on your personal, home, and auto. Again, we're the area's probably most trusted Medicare advisors. We offer under 65 individual health insurance under the age of 65. We've got a great business insurance when you're talking about commercial liability and work comp, as well as group benefits like Aflac Group Health. So we are full service, and we're just waiting for you to come in. We look forward to working with you.
Well, tell the folks out there your location and your phone number.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're located at 1419 Freeway Drive in Reidsville, North Carolina at Ashcroft Commons. Our telephone number is 336-637-1225, and we look forward to seeing all of you.
Thank you, Jarrett.
Thank you, Debbie.
And I'm Debbie Moore for Star